Hello, and welcome to Thrively. I'm Jeanette Simonson, and I'm very excited to bring you our next webinar, Hopeful Kids, the Surprising Psychological Secrets to Fostering Resilient, Successful People. Today's webinar is brought to you by myself and Kathleen Beachboard, author of The School of Hope and TED Talk speaker. We are so excited for you to join us today, and we look forward to learning from you as well as sharing some wonderful resources. Oh, super excited. Again, I just shared with you, Kathleen, that we got a couple inches of snow here today in Colorado. So what better day to talk about hope? Hope for spring, although I love the snow, but so excited to welcome you and our attendees who are coming in right now. I know they're all coming in with this lens of, okay, how do we stay and remain hopeful? So I'd love to introduce Kathleen Beachboard. She brings hope to all of us in education, and I'm Jeanette Simonson with Thrively. So happy to be here today, and I'm going to turn over the reins to Kathleen and welcome all of you.
Hi, everyone. So before we get started, I love to know my audience and how I can serve you best, because you're probably educators like I am. And so I would love to know your name, where you're from, what your role is, teacher, principal, researcher, SEL specialist, whatever you are, and what you hope, no pun intended, to get out of this PD, because I would love to know that. And as you put it in the chat, I'm going to connect with you, because the most important thing, as you know, is about connecting to each other. And I am glad you're here. I'm going to share quick, actionable resources, educate you, and also make this fun. So once again, feel free to put your name, where you're from, what role you have in the chat, and I will talk to you all. Yay. Hi, Jim. Yay, Catholic school principal. I'm looking forward to helping you in any way, and this will empower your students. Hi, Kalpana from California. Nice to see you. Carol, South Dakota, special ed. Yay. I do collaborative teaching. Hi, Scott. Nice to see you from Riverside Unified. Welcome. And guess what? I promise you'll get tools for your tool belt. Also, make sure you have a Google account, because a lot of this is make it, take it. Greg, resource teacher. I love resource teachers. And you're in Hawaii. Awesome. Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. Coral Springs. I bet it's beautiful there. Nice and warm, hopefully. Corletta, school counselor. I love my school counselors. You guys are the true heroes. Eileen, thanks for coming from Arizona. And these tools that you're going to see today will apply to your third graders. Hi, Lee. Nice to see you from Texas. Helen, Niagara Falls. Wow, we got people from everywhere, Jeanette. Hi, Mary. Awesome. Primary, and preschools, and you support service. Man, Mary, you do a lot. Service managers in Washington State, and Debbie, who does literacy head grades, Mark from Maryland, and you have no idea what to expect, but I promise it'll be good. Amy, nice to see you. And that's awesome that you are support coordinator, because we need more of you. Yes. And then
Oops. So Kathleen has had some issues with her internet today. So I'm going to have to be as exciting as she is until she can get back online. But I see, great. Okay, form is read only. Okay, I will make sure to get that fixed as soon as I can. Oh, great. Madhavi is helping us with that. So as soon as Kathleen can get back, I'm going to actually jump in and keep sharing where you're from. I see a lot of people out there from some really great warm places, but as soon as Kathleen gets back on, we're going to talk a lot about hope. And I just want to talk about the work that she has done in terms of making sure, oh, there she's back. Excellent. I was just sharing that your internet was kind of in and out a little bit, but I jumped in to kind of introduce you and just talk about how amazing you are. And so take it away since you're back.
Thanks. Sorry, guys. As you'll see in a second, I have 7 children and they want to be on the internet real bad. Anyway, so hi, my name's Kathleen Beachboard. I am a teacher, author, researcher, and mother of 7, as you'll quickly come to find out. All the things that I'm going to share with you today are going to give you a new look on one of the most powerful emotions and cognitive dispositions in the universe, hope. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to keep going. Hopeful kids, the surprising psychological secrets. Now, hope is not just an emotion, hope is a science. So, whatever you thought hope was previously, I want you to erase it and be willing to learn something new today. And if you already know a little bit about it, hey, you're going to gain even more to put in your toolbox. All right, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so my story. I told you I had 7 kids. Here's proof. Look at them all. And my husband, he's the one with the grumpy face hauling around 7 children in Niagara Falls. We had a Niagara Falls person, see? Right there. So 5 of my children were adopted out of a case of extreme abuse and neglect. And this is how this relates to hope. When I got them, I was like, hey, I'm trauma trained. I know what to do. Well, the reality is I didn't. And on top of that, I didn't know, I didn't have any tools or psychological support systems that I could give them. And I remember they showed up with a bag of their belongings in a trash bag, and they ran to the corner and started huddle hugging and crying. And I wanted to help them, but there's something that comes before a good relationship. We always hear form a good relationship. That is true. It helps with trauma. But for our kids, there's more to it than just good relationships. And you know it. You all know it. There's something that comes before that. And what is that thing? It's hope. I'm going to tell you that I started measuring and raising their hope, and you're going to see the research behind it. They are successful, happy, and doing amazing things, as you can see from growing up from there to there. And that's all of them. We had 2 of our own after adopting 5. So like I said, there really are 7 children. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, so here is the why for this presentation. And our school counselor who's in here with us, woot woot, I told you I support you. She will back this up. In October of 2021, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Children's Hospital Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, they declared a national state of emergency in child and adolescent health. So how does that relate to me? I'm a public school principal. I'm a teacher. I'm a 3rd grade teacher. What that means is our students are going to the hospital with severe stress, anxiety, suicidal ideations, and they're being asked to go and see someone in the community. And then when they go and try to call to see that person, the wait lists are 6 to 12 months long just to be seen by a professional. So let's just give it to the school counselors to handle. That's too much for any school counselor. The average school counselor in this country is 1 to 298. What? Yes. And so for our school counselor in here, props to you. They can't fix all of this. And so what can we do? Well, here's the amazing thing. We were born with the power and the answer. What is that amazing thing? It's hope. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I've got my lovely Jeanette. So I want you to take a look, and this is where I want you guys to interact. I want you to throw around some thoughts and ideas. I want you to look at the titles on the screen. And then either tell me something you're thinking or something that it makes you wonder or a question you have. These are actual psychological research studies, not mine, because that would be a conflict of interest. These are ones that have been put out recently, and I have more that I'm going to give you to look at later, not today. So I'm just going to read the titles. And like I said, in the chat, put down something you wonder, something you're amazed by, or a question you might have. Just let this research hit you in the face. Hope uniquely predicts subjective academic achievement above intelligence, personality, and previous academic achievement. The magic of hope. Hope mediates the relationship between socioeconomic status and academic achievement. Doesn't matter how much money you have in your background. This is the mediating factor. It's an equalizer. Hope as a mediator of bullying involvement and emotional difficulties in children. Psychological vulnerability and subjective happiness, the mediating role of hopelessness. Hopelessness is the opposite of being hopeful. Camp Hope is an intervention for children exposed to domestic violence. That was my kids. Their parents domestically, they abused them and they abused each other. And that's why I have them. A potential avenue for academic success. Hope predicts an academic achievement-oriented psychosocial profile for African-American adolescents and most importantly, hope, happiness, and general health and well-being among the elderly. So it's forever. So look at this. Look at the amazing quotes we have down here. The potential for positive outcomes is a powerful motivator. There must be the possibility in order to obtain buy-in. That's right. Hope comes first. You want to form a relationship? I have to be hopeful to put it out there. Hope seems to be a great equalizer. It is, and we're born with it. We are? Yeah, that's what I'm going to show you next. Wondering if there's evidence to convince the skeptics out. Oh, yes, there is evidence. Greg, I wrote an entire book called The School of Hope. It's full of references and resources and research, because I'm a researcher. This is science. You could show them my book and say, boom. Okay. And I have brain scans to show you too. All right. So let's keep going. All right, so that was for the research. If you guys, this is a make it, take it presentation. I'm going to paste the link to this presentation here in case you want to keep it, in case someone needs research or data. You can show it to them by going in the Hope research folder. There's tons of studies in there. It's just a few, because I didn't want you to have all 700 to 800 that I happen to have for my book, but you can have the few that just pertain to education. There's more. Oh yeah, there's tons more. So first of all, what is hope? Psychological hope is a mix of our goals, pathways, and agency. So psychologist Dr. Rick Snyder defined hope, and he said that goals, pathways, and agency combine together to form psychological hope. Now, want to hear an amazing story? I know you do. Okay, so Dr. Snyder wanted to prove to the world the power of hope, and I love telling the story. So he did a live science experiment on national television on Good Morning America. He had the host, the medical expert, and the weatherman all follow him into a back room. Then he told them they would participate in the cold presser task. I know it sounds fancy, but it just means stick your hand in icy water, leave it there for as long as humanly possible. So all three men came out, and Dr. Snyder was holding a piece of paper. He turned around and he didn't even look at the entire experiment. And so the guys were like, hey, you're the one doing this hope stuff. Like, well, aren't you going to watch? And he's like, I don't need to. I already know who won. And they're like, oh, he's psychic. No, he's not psychic, as you'll see. So all three men stuck their hands in the water. After a few minutes, though, the weatherman, he couldn't stand it. It was too cold. He pulled his hand out. Then a few minutes later, the host and the medical expert were going eye to eye, and they started man speaking like, you can't do it. Oh, no, you can. Yes, I can. And then after a few minutes, the medical expert, he couldn't stand it either. He pulled his hand out. Then the host, this is amazing. He knew they were about to go to commercial break. So he vowed to leave his hand in the icy water because it was live until the end of the break. So he did. And when he pulled his hand out, he questioned Dr. Snyder, the founder of hope theory. He said, what does hope have to do with icy water and my winning? To which Dr. Snyder replied, your hope score, yeah, because hope is measurable. Before the test, I measured all three of your hope scores, and yours was the highest. So I knew you would be the one to reach the goal of winning and meeting the test, despite the pain that you had to go through to get there. Hope doesn't take away our pain. It doesn't take away the background, but what it does do is it gives us the resilience and the endurance to keep going to our goals, despite the circumstances that we're in. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so now you're like, wait, hope is measurable? Yeah, it is. Check this out. I've got my lovely Jeanette. So first and foremost, I told you we were born with hope. It's true. The moment that you, because you're here, guess what? You all have hope. Whether you're from Niagara Falls, woot woot, California, Texas, you all have hope because you cried, someone picked you up, and they took care of you. Why? Because you're still alive. And so in that moment, you developed a level of hope. And that hope level that you have determines various aspects of your life. So everyone has hope, but the amount of hope is critical, as you can see from those research studies. So hope is measurable and malleable. So how can we measure it? Very simply. Check it out. Thrively's already done the hard work for you on the next slide. I'm going to show it to you. So this is a quick little video to kind of show you how the hope test works on Thrively. And It's free. So if you want to know the hope of your students, which is critical and it's malleable, like any test. So let's say you take a math test and you're really bad at quadratic equations. Guess what? You can be strengthened on that. Just like hope, if you're weak in agency or pathways, you can get stronger at the area where you're weakest with an intervention. What? This isn't just SEL. This is a positive cognitive process that you already have that you can strengthen when we know what level you're at. So this short little YouTube video, we're only going to watch, like, if Jeanette, if you could skip like to the middle and just show like a second of it so they could kind of just see that it's super easy. On the left, I have an example of what the Children's Hope Scale by Dr. Snyder used to look like. But as you can see, Thrively's changed this and they've made it a sliding scale. So students can select their answer to the questions. And then when they're done, it's going to give them their overall hope score. And that hope score is important. Why? Because high hope kids have powers that they can utilize to conquer the world. Conquer the world. Yes, I really mean it. So up here, what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of go through what a high hope kid has based off of research. And remember, all this research is available to you in that research folder, along with all the research at the end of this. Okay, so once again, hope test free on Thrively. That's the first thing. You have to know where to start. And so taking the hope test will give you a place to start, and it's free. Okay, so see, look, agency pathways. Wait, I thought you said it was goals. We'll get to that in a minute. But it gives you an actual score. And from there, you find the weakest area and you work on it. Okay, so next slide. Here we go. So how do high hope kids differ from kids with other levels of hope? Secrets to be revealed. First of all, their brains are different. Check out this next slide. Their brains? Yeah. So this is a high school student's brain. I teach high school. So we have their brains around. And so what hope does is, in the medial orbital frontal cortex, that's right up here in your prefrontal cortex, as hope goes up. So this is a kid whose hope's been strengthened. The impact of stress and anxiety on the thinking part of your brain goes down. So what does that mean? So the counselor in here will verify this, and she can put it in the chat. Kids, when they feel stress and anxiety, can go into the fight, flight, freeze, flop, fawn response, which is an amygdala response. But here's the cool thing. Those kids with hope, notice the guy who was in the test with Dr. Snyder and he was freezing. He didn't give up. He didn't run away. He didn't yell or face anything. He stood there and stood his ground. It allowed him to think during the process to make it through. And that's what hope does in the brain. It doesn't take away anything from their home life, doesn't take away the pain that they're going through, but what it does do is it allows them to think. Just like the man on live TV was able to think, I just need to hold out a few more minutes. He was thinking during this process, not just feeling and reacting. That's what hope does in the brain. It creates a new level of executive functioning for our students to utilize. Not only do they have different brains, and remember, you can change their brains over time. That's one of the amazing things with neuroplasticity. So yes, the brain is malleable and you can change this. So every kid has this high hope brain. All right, so here we go. Time to break it down into the 5 components of our hopeful kids and what they do. First, they have goals and aspirations. The other kids have goals too. However, children with high hope, they are more likely to set goals that are ambitious and out of their reach, which means they're way up there. Why? Because they believe they can do it and they have a strong purpose and direction in their life. Whereas our low hope kids, they don't believe they can do it. And these are the kids who will not take big risks to learn content. Why? Because they think they can't. What? Yeah, hope relates to education in multiple ways. They won't go into the zone of proximal development, meaning they're not willing to take that leap to learn, because if it's too hard, they're going to give up. Okay, not only that, number 2, they're resilient. Just like I said, it takes away the stress and anxiety in the brain. What does that do? It lowers it so they can think, so they can be able to find a way to reach their goals, even when they're failing. So they have a high psychological profile that they will face challenges and they will keep going because they believe they can get there and they can persevere despite the adversity they'll face. And so this is a gift for the rest of their lives because they're gonna face adversity. Okay, number 3. Optimism. Children with high psychological hope, they have a stronger, more positive outlook on life. They believe that things will work out in the end and that they have control in how it works out. That's why they're very optimistic. They're not looking at luck as an optimism or joyful optimism or dreaming optimism. They're looking at real optimism that they believe they are creating. And I know high school students, I know they aren't high on the hope scale. Some of them aren't. During the transition between 8th and 9th grade, they take a dip. Why? Think about it. Anytime we go through a change in life, we become scared. We want to pull back in. This is all people. And so because of that, that's a time where our hope tends to fluctuate. But the amazing thing is, with high hope people around or teachers filling their hope, that's kids who are gaining stronger hope that becomes more cemented as they become an adult. So if we can get kids when they're in between 8th and 9th grade and strengthen their hope, it becomes more cemented and harder and less likely to waver for the rest of their lives. That's why we have to get them when they're younger, because the higher their hope is, if it wavers a little, guess what? There's still high hope. Yeah, good question, Mark. Okay, number 4. Self-esteem. They have higher levels of self-esteem because they believe in their own abilities. They're confident not only about themselves, but about their outcomes because they believe they control their outcomes once again. And because they feel good because as they accomplish those things, think about yourself. The last time you accomplished a big goal, how did it feel? Probably felt kind of awesome. And so that's because it's fueling your own personal hope. All right, let's keep going. Number 5, emotional well-being. The children who have high hope, they tend to have better emotional well-being and higher levels of life satisfaction. Why? Because they tend to believe in themselves, believe they control their outcomes. And not only that, they also believe that they will accomplish their goals as they set them. Okay, and last but not least, oh, wait, that was it. Okay, this was the last thing. All right, so now that we've gone through what hopeful kids are, I'm going to give you practical tools in a minute to raise hope based off of goals, pathways, and agency. But right now, because I just gave you a whole bunch of really quick hope, give me one question, idea, or insight going through your mind right now, because you matter in this conversation too. Like Mark, he just chimed right in and I answered his question really quick. Once, there we go. Oh, I know it's only 30 minutes, but I'm going. One question, idea, or insight. All right, then I'm going to go straight into the nitty gritty. Hope has a score. It can be changed. Yes. So hope does have a score. So you can get their hope score. And once you know their weak area on the 3 levels of hope, and goals kind of comes in there, but we'll talk about that in a second. You can strengthen the areas. I see the connection between resilience and hope. I'm looking forward to learning more. Yes. How to help increase hope for those students who do not express it. So Scott, for the students who don't express it, that's why Thrively is a key piece to this, because as soon as you know their hope score and they've taken it and they're not expressing it, they're the quiet kid in class and they actually need help, you're going to be able to help them. Okay, how do I change their mind? Okay, Patty, changing mindsets can happen very quickly by raising their hope. As you raise hope, I gain the self-esteem and confidence, which actually fuels growth mindset. And would I give the test more than once a year? I give it quarterly. Every time you give grades, give the hope test. Why? Because you don't want to give it too much because of the testing effects. And how can we get parents to practice this with? I'm actually writing a whole book on that, so we'll get to that in a second. But some of the practices I'm going to show you today can also help kids. All right, Jeanette, this is going to be super fast, and you can strengthen. That's a whole different webinar. All right, Jeanette. Now, Once again, if you guys are on the same presentation, I'm going to put it in here. You can click on the links that say copy here. All right. So Jeanette, if you could click up in the corner where it says visual summary of tools. So first and foremost, if I don't get to all tools today, I want you to know that you have all of them. What? So if you could click on the second link, I would have, or the second slide. Woohoo. Okay. So right there, you're going to see links to every single thing in this entire presentation, and it's going to force a copy to your Google Drive. So Jeanette, if you could just click on one of the links, anyone randomly, just to show them what happens. Boom. Look at that. Forced a copy, and you can change it. You can modify this to fit your classroom. For the one lady in here who teaches third grade, you could make this add more pictures in so they understand the questions or concepts. It's yours because you need tools. Here are the tools. Okay, back to the actual presentation. Yo, people are on it. Okay. So first, we're going to go over goals. There is no goal score in HOPE. Why? Because people are naturally goal directed. Like today, you woke up and you said, I'm going to go to a HOPE webinar. I'm going to see Kathleen and Jeanette, and then I'm going to see Thrively people. Yeah, you already planned that. And because of that, HOPE impacts the type of goals that you set for yourself. All right, so let me give you some goals. Well, some tools for goals. So in order to strengthen their goals so that the students have higher goals and set more ambitious goals, you have to teach them that. So here's one of the first tools you can use. Next slide. Here we go. We're going to do this. Like I said, it's going to be really quick because I want you to have them all. I already explained why no goal score. Keep going, Jeanette. Whew.
Okay. And I want to point out too, there's a really good question about adults. Everything you're saying here, guess what? It's not just for kids.
No, and we have a whole different section of Thrively. We're going to have another webinar coming up on cultures of hope, school cultures of hope. It's measurable too. Oh, yes, it is. Thrively has a tool for it. We're getting there, but this is just about the kids today. All right, let's go. Keep going. All right. First, in your classrooms, all of you set goals for your students every day. They're called objectives. Like your today's due now. I know I'm successful when I can do 8 out of 10 questions correctly on the quadratic formula. Great. You did the first part. You set a goal for your students. Then they have to get feedback on their goals. Teachers, you try too much and you do too much. It's true facts. And principals, you do too. So that's why utilizing your people, the strongest person in the room is always the room. So use your students. And notice I have ESL frames on this document. So you could print this off and give it to any kid right now. So what they do is they set a glow and a grow based off of the classroom content. Hey, today you did the quadratic formula. You set the formula up right. You carried everything down your grow. Next time, check your multiplication because I noticed your multiplication was struggling. So look, I just did that. Then wait, next slide. Here we go. Then they track their feedback. From there, they look at their feedback to set ambitious goals. If they notice they're having problems with multiplication over and over again, guess what? That's their goal for the week. And they work on that during warm-up time. 1, it gives the kid the time and space they need to succeed. 2, it's an ambitious goal. And it's also a SMART goal. And 3, I can regrade them on their work. What? Yeah, because you're the teacher. Once they get something, their grade should be changed because the grade's a reflection of their ability. And it increases hope. Okay, let's keep going. So that's for goal setting. Okay, also for behaviors, principal, this is for you. A lot of the time when kids have behavior problems, behavior is a form of communication. And that means they're lacking a skill. These are psychological skills they might be lacking. You need to do collaborative problem solving where the kid guides the conversation. Doesn't mean we take away punitive consequences from kids, but we have to have them set goals on their to help them with skills they might be lacking at. Why? Because then the behavior will just happen over and over and over again for forever and it'll keep going. We don't want that. So hopeful problem solving was invented with goals, agency, and pathway to give the kid a say so they'll feel more hopeful about their overall behavior, and they'll set a goal, and they'll listen to you and your problem. You'll listen to their problem, and they're the one coming up with the solutions. Not so you can still give them a consequence, but the kid's the one solving the problem. Why? Because that allows them to set goals on their behavior and to strengthen their resolve to basically get through the behavior and to solve the behavior themselves, giving them agency. All right, let's keep going. Actually, we only have like a minute left. Okay, so there are free playlists on Thrively for hope, pathways, and agency. Unfortunately, I want to give you guys time, and I know I was really ambitious with this 30-minute webinar. So everything today, even the things we didn't get to, I know we just got through goals, but there are pathways practices already in here. There are agency tools already in here for you to strengthen pathways, which is their ability to problem solve, and agency, which is their motivation. You can go through this on your own. If you have questions, you can email me. But for the purpose of today, there are free playlists kids can go through. I want to be able to answer your questions and walk away with all of these resources. There are some we didn't even get to. We only had 30 minutes, but I was very ambitious because I wanted you to have as much as humanly possible. Jeanette, if you could go to the slide with feedback, I would appreciate it.
Previous one. Or which one?
It's all the way at the end.
All right. We'll
See,
just
look, I wanted to give
roll.
you so much, it's insane.
You guys have homework to do. You're giving them homework.
Yes, I am.
There we go.
Okay, so right here. I love the share. Yes, they're all shareable. Now, just so you know, if you fill this out, I will send you the first chapter of my book, The School of Hope, for free. Yes, free. And then if you want the book, I have it for 40% off. I'll follow up with you. But Thrively brought me here today to give you actionable tools for the classroom. There are actionable tools for you. There are actionable tools for teachers, for principals. And it's amazing what Hope can do. Hope saved my own children's lives. It did. I did a whole TED talk on it. It's one of the most powerful things in the universe. And it's already inside our kids. It's already a cognitive process that's there that we can strengthen the mental resolve for. So if you guys have questions, feel free, but please give me feedback. If you guys could put that link in the chat, and then the code is TALK. If you think I need to do another talk, feel free to let us know. If you want another talk, just more on students, maybe an hour long, feel free to suggest it. I only had 30 minutes, but I thank you all from coming from everywhere. All of these tools are free for you. Modify them, use them. If you have a question, I am accessible. I'm on spring break right now. Woohoo, because I do teach. So feel free to email me at kathleenbeachboard@gmail.com. I'll throw it in the chat. But I would love to know your thoughts, anything that you have, and please fill out the link on talk.ac/Kathleen Beachboard. If you guys could paste that in the chat with talk, I would appreciate it.
And thank you so much. We've shared out a form link because, of course, there's just so much here and we can't solve, all the whole problems in 30 minutes. Although every time I talk to you, Kathleen, my spirits are lifted. I'm ready to go out there and get into the 2 inches of snow. And all of you really, there's so many resources, not only in your book, The School of Hope. Like she said, reach out. She'll give you 40% off the book. We have schools across the country doing book studies and really moving the needle for their students, but also log into Thrively. We'll be choosing 5 lucky winners for a chance at Classroom Pro. Reach out to me at Jeanette@thrively.com and let me know what your needs are. And we want to make sure that the adults and the students in your buildings, in your surroundings, are remaining hopeful, staying hopeful, gaining hope, and just really finishing out the school year with a strong, resilient nature. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you for all you do. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll definitely have Kathleen back. So thank you. Thank you, Greg. Absolutely.
I will put the talk link in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't grab it since I'm sharing. So wonderful. And I know so many of you out there are spreading hope. Remember, if you just pair a high hope person with a low hope person, the low hope person rises up, and it's as simple as that. So tomorrow, take the hope survey. In the next week, take it and just pair the students next to each other. That's a big step you can do. But again, you've raised my hope levels again. You keep doing it. And I appreciate all of you. So have a fantastic rest of your week. And we look forward to connecting with all of you in the near future.
Hi,
Kathleen?
guys. Reach out if you need anything.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much. Thank you for attending today's webinar. We are talking about Hopeful Kids, the surprising psychological secrets to fostering resilient, successful people. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at thrive@thrively.com or at Jeanette@thrively.com. We're looking forward to supporting all of your needs and looking forward to learning about how you create hopeful kids and a great environment.